The Book of Job, Chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God, and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. But Job said, It may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God, and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord, and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only have escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Job 2. Again there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord, and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, Skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath will he give for his life. But put forth thy hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils, from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God, and die. But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that was come upon him, they came every one from his own place, Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him, and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off, and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every one his mantle, and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven.
Now, we just read the story of Job. Look at the story of Job. I call Job a Job job. And Job job is going to be very closely representative of what's happening in the world today. Think about it. Look how fast everything was lost from Job. Family, homes, houses, riches, things. Look how fast the servants who were killed, the livestock and everything. What about his children? What about the servants? What were they doing? Were the innocent killed? With the guilty? Were they guilty? Was anything bad? What was going on? What did Satan do? What did Satan answer when God asked him, where you come from? Because he said that the day when they assembled in front of God, the sons of God came back. I mean that the sons were actually, I call them representatives from every different planet and stuff, different maybe galaxies, to come and answer to God. And Satan loves to visit the earth. He loves to see the earth. This is gotten from the books of Ellen G. White, including The Great Controversy. He loved to visit the earth. I ate some nuts or something. In case I think my teeth, please forgive me. And he's always messed with the earth. So he said, where you came from? He said, have you considered my servant Job? God has confidence. God knows what we can do, what our abilities are. Have you considered my servant Job? And Satan says, yeah, I know him. I see him. The one you put a hedge around? Yeah, I know him. The one who will curse you to your face if you took everything away? Yeah, I know him. The one, if you make him sick, he'll curse you. Sometimes we wonder why we go through such calamities and disease and sickness and all these things sometimes, and why God permits some things to come at us. Why good people die, why good people suffer, why the evil seems to be going on like nothing ever happens and everything goes on. And if you read the exchange between Job and his friends, the 3 friends that came to sit with him, they sat with him for a whole week. A whole week, 7 days. Britain, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a whole week into Sunday again. And then they said nothing to him because they saw that his grief was great. What friend would stick and stay with you 7 days in one place sitting with you? What? Those are some good friends in my book. I'm sick for how long? You see, I was talking the other videos. I was congested, all that stuff. Who came and sat with me for 7 days? Can I even equip myself to Job to lose everything? And then not know if you're going to live or die? And God is there. God is monitoring. God is watching. God's not trying to punch him and say, look at this, let's play a game with him. No. Satan tried to mess up God. Now, this is after Satan, the same wicked deceiver, went and tried to mess up Eve and Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. This is in the book of Job. Much further from, it's before Psalms. Right on, it's after Psalms. Let's see, Job. Job is when? Let's look at it in the Bible. Job is after... Remember the story? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, and 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, and 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, then come the book of Psalms. Yes, so Job is before Psalms. See, my memory's not too bad, right? Think about it. This same Satan messed everybody up back then, that made them, that lied to them and said, God said, did God say? And God said, you're not going to die. He lied to Eve. He lied to Adam. He lied to both of them. He lied to us. Now we're dying because of him and the choices that they made that we also are guilty of, because we do it every day the same. Cain killed Abel. People kill each other left and right. They're hurting each other, harming each other because of our disobedience to God's law back then, would apply still now because they were foreparents. So there's no evolution here. Okay? No evolution. Human beings were a long time before on the earth. They want to call it misinformation. It ain't this 4 point something billion years we're talking about. We're talking about thousands, okay? I'll give you some more numbers closer about it. We're going to go to a Sabbath to rest. A Sabbath at some point. So number 7 is for completion. And we're talking in thousands. And one day with the Lord is almost 1,000 years. If you look at some parts of prophecy, that means we may be in the 6,000 something years. Just saying. I mean, I'm entitled to my free speech, right? I'm entitled to... God gave me free speech, not just because of the law and the Constitution, but God gave it to me. So if God said it, I'm going to listen to him. But I don't believe this billions and 100 million years old. Why did they show us about those giant? What about those giant humans? Guys, according to the Bible and back then in Ellen G. White's and other prophetic things, humans were giants on the earth. I only see people, I see them maybe about a 9-footer here, 8-footer here, but giants on the earth, I'm thinking more of like 18 feet and 16 feet. Where are the skeletons of the human beings? We see skeletons of big turtles and big squirrels and big mosquitoes and whatever structures here of exoskeletons. So we see all these things around. Everything big. But mankind, this little humbled old caveman in some cave dwelling somewhere with a big stick. That's Satan talk. That's Satan stuff. They are hiding it from us. They don't want us to see our true nature. They don't want us to see our true selves. We were giants on the earth. Big men and women. Big male and female. Big. God don't make no... Come on, look at the whales in the sea right now. We were big. And the creatures were subject to us. They were more scared of us. Now they want to eat us in some of the places. This is rough. But let's go back to Satan. Satan is a liar and a deceiver. And he's always going to mess and twist God's stuff up. So, he decided to twist up the creation. And now he decided to mess with Job. Because it's like, hey, even though I try to mess everything up, there's some people still holding true to God's commandments. There's still a remnant who's still holding true to God's stuff. Job and his family, his wife, his sons, and his kids, right? Maybe I can take him out a little bit. Maybe I'll hurt him a little bit. Maybe put a little flex on him a little bit. Maybe I'll try to work on him. Any kind of working on people you see happening nowadays, any kind of pressure from anybody, pressure from above, pressure from around the world, pressure to test God's people, pressure from Inquisition, pressure from torture, pressure from persecution, pressure from something, anything, Reformation, Counter-Reformation, pressure from somewhere. We've been pressured. We're all being pressured. Protestants versus what? Protestantism. They're under pressure. Under pressure, you can also get diamonds. So, something good happened at the end of Job. So, it's good for the reader and to understand it. See what God did. God knows what's going to happen in the end, and He doesn't change. God knows what's going to happen. So, don't give up on Him. He got a lot of things we don't know about. God has it. But let's see who this Satan is. This character of Satan, always going around deceiving and thinking, infiltrating Hollywood, music, the theater, the homes, the families, the things in business. He's always going messing stuff up, even in healthcare. He's messing stuff up, trying to kill us all. That's it. It's just death, because there's only two sides. Living or the dead. Obedient, disobedient. Good or bad. God or ungodly. Oh, Christ and Antichrist, right? So, Satan has been a great deceiver, but he was described also in the book of Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah chapter 14, but before we get there, let's go to Isaiah and let's read something from Isaiah and see what it says first, okay? Let's go to Isaiah first and see what it says about Satan and about who he is. We'll talk more about it now.